Is content slowly killing a generation? I'm gonna start doing these quick videos of topics that come to my mind and my heart that I feel that I just need to share my opinion on and be of help to somebody. Because if it's in my heart and mind, then it's probably gonna be on someone else's. So let's start with this. How much content is being posted every single day? I've got some stats for you. Roughly 500 million posts are being posted on X every day, formerly known as Twitter. 350 million on Facebook daily. 720,000 hours of video being posted on YouTube daily. 23 million hours on TikTok and 95 million photos or videos shared on Instagram per day. We're not talking about per week or a month as it probably was or we would have been talking about some time ago. We're talking about every single day. And I'm a very thoughtful person in terms of I think a lot. And I'm seeing so much content being posted all the time, especially on YouTube. I'm consuming it and I'm just realizing that something's off here. And I think the reason, and it actually affected my journey with content for a while, because I looked at it as not always from a positive standpoint in terms of all the content being shared, it kind of held me back from wanting to put out my own content. And the reason is so many and so much content is being posted from a purely selfish intention. What do I mean by this? I mean, you got business people who are already doing different types of businesses and, they're getting things done, they haven't, and they want to further that success because success is like a scratched itch that you never scratch really, right? You're always going to want more and more, but you should push for more. And as they do, they think and, have been taught content, building your personal brand is the way to grow your business further or quicker than you could do it if you didn't have a personal brand. And I agree. I'm not going to lie to you. I do agree. But I find that people are just taking the shortcuts. You got Gary V, okay? Or Tony Robbins, Stephen Bartlett, who take the time to see gaps in the market and, create content different way, but from a pure intention. Now, I'm not saying because a lot of these people who I even just mentioned have started to follow the same thing, right? Maybe not Tony Robbins more so, but definitely Gary V and Stephen. What I'm talking about is the headlines, the thumbnails that are screaming at you and your brain cells to pay attention, to click on this thing, just clickbait, pure clickbait. And they're doing this because they need more views, they need more, watch time, just want to build their empires. And look, I get it, man. 100% get it. I'd be lying if I sat here and I told you that I wouldn't welcome with open arms a big channel, loads of success. 100%, I would, but at what cost? See, the problem comes that I think content is taken away from the inner voice. And everything that I'm telling you is stuff that I've experienced within myself. You see, I have a fast moving brain, so I can consume a lot of content and I can get the message and get an understanding of what it means, and I move on, keep consuming so much content. But what I've realized of recent is that it's taken away from that inner voice when I'm indulged in content all hours of the day. The inner voice is what? The inner voice is the voice in your head, your intuition that can lead you and show you where you need to go, help you make decisions, help you get to your goal and stay on your path and, succeed in your journey. It's not always what comes from others. And don't get me wrong, I think your network and definitely brotherhood and people around you and learning from people is of the utmost importance. But there's that inner voice within you that has so much wisdom within it already, because I always say this thing that, I've read over 100 books, but the greatest thing that I ever studied was myself. So being the person that's been with you every single day of your life and in those experiences, you're going to have a unique and, vast perspective is right for you. And yes, we also need, help and wisdom from people around us. But when you're just consuming content from people who have no clue about you specifically, no understanding of your personal situation, it can be conflicted. I'll give you an example. The other day I watched the Alex Hormozy video and it was a powerful video, man. Like, I loved what he's saying, the concept of what he was saying. He was talking about, as he does, it was kind of like that work hard thing, but it was a different perspective with it. It wasn't just, hustle porn, or he was given a very unique perspective, right? And Alex Hormozy is someone that I respect, I learn a lot from, even someone that I definitely can learn from. And the minute that the video finished, right, the minute the video ended, another video came on or was about to play by Matt Gray. Now, Matt Gray is someone who's had huge amounts of success in the content world, and they were pretty much opposing views. Both men are successful, high levels of success, high achievers. We won't pick and mix or say who's more successful than the other, but they're both highly successful, but completely opposing views. So you could watch a video that you align with, you agree with, and it's motivational to you, it's empowering, you want to follow and take action. And then within 10 seconds, you're being recommended another video with a completely opposing view, and now you're conflicted. At that point, it's not healthy, right? So let's get to like a solution point. What do we do as men, as women, as people, as entrepreneurs, as people who just want to better our lives when it comes to consuming content and wanting consuming to become better, also not wanting to, infiltrate our inner voice or overconsume or create a confliction within our minds? I think it comes with having your codes as a man, 100%, but also just as a person in general. You have to have not only your code of conduct, but just essentially your morals, right? What is it you stand for? What is it that you are trying to achieve? What is it that you won't compromise on? And I think when you really can be aligned with you and your journey, then you're more likely to not be conflicted by different opposing content. You're more likely to filter out the type of content that you're going and you're watching. You see, when I was 21 years old, I came out of prison after a year. And after many, many years of living a completely different life that was just detrimental to me, a painful, trauma-ridden life and lifestyle, right? And I decided to completely change my life around. And in doing so, content was key for me. There was like content changed my life. Joel Osteen, preacher in America, his videos, his daily videos, those were powerful for me. Or Nipsey Hussle, a gang member turned musician and philanthropist pretty much, and activist and speaker, all these things pretty much. His content, watching his interviews, watching his, listening to his music played a vital role in my life and changing around. There's so much other videos. Gary Vee, in his videos where we talk about business and his opinions, like those things were big for me, right? So content's always played a big part. So I'm not by any means saying to like just not consume content. I'm saying probably consume a little less, because we're in a world where, as I explained earlier by the stats, there's so much content out there being posted every single day, every single hour. Probably consume a little bit less and definitely filter what you're consuming. So I'm going to give you some of my content rules, and I quickly drew these up. There might actually be some more to it, and I might recollect as I'm saying it. So number one is podcasts, right? I talked about the Nipsey Hussle interview, and I used to listen to a lot of interviews when I was younger. A lot of rappers as well, maybe because I was a musician when I was younger. And as I got older, I realized that a lot of these interviews were just a waste of time that I was watching, right? And interviews turned to later podcasts. Podcasts has become prevalent in the last few years. There's so many of them, and it's so tempting because a lot of them are screaming out at you like, learn how to become a millionaire, learn how to be successful, or I went from this to this. And yeah, I've watched some really inspirational and powerful podcasts that I wouldn't have had any other way in terms of watching them. But there's some people are just chatting shit. And listen, don't get me wrong. If I need to just completely just rest my brain, just watch something and relax, or so on and so forth, then on the odd occasion I might watch a random podcast. But it is very rare, and I try to really limit that. Okay, you don't want to look back and look at life and think that you've spent so many hours just watching people just talk shit. All right, honestly, it's no slight to the podcast, but I like podcasts where there's a meaning to it, there's lessons in it, they're interviewing really inspirational and powerful people, and things of that nature, right? And occasionally, maybe once in a while, a podcast where they're chatting shit. But from a selfish level for you as a person and myself as a person, we can't spend all our time consuming that type of content. Number two is I use the YouTube summary Chrome extension for most info videos nowadays, okay? There is so many information videos like of people teaching this and teaching that, and I get it, and I know they want to thrive, they want to win, but not at the expense of me getting to live my life and doing what I need to do. It can't happen, all right? I don't have enough hours in the day to watch every single 40, 50-minute video that this guy or this coach or this mentor or this expert is posting. So I download that YouTube Summarize Chrome extension, amazing tool. It pops up when you're watching a YouTube video. When you click on YouTube video on the right-hand side, mainly on the laptop. I haven't found it for the phone yet. If I do, I will let you know. You click on that little button that comes with, and it will summarize that video using ChatGPT or whatever you use. And then you can even ask it to, some of them don't summarize as well. They'll more so give you a transcript. So I'll tell it to summarize, give me the key points, put it in a document. And then I can read it, get through the main points within 5 minutes, and save 40 minutes to an hour, all right? And that is a flipping gem that people don't realize. But it's important, right? It's very important because, like I said, so much videos come out. A lot of them are actually valuable. How much time do we really have in a day to sit down and watch 40 minutes worth of what this person is saying? And it's popping out, and you're getting like 2, 3, 4 of those, 10 sometimes pop up in a day. How are you gonna get any work done? How are you gonna stick to the plan? It don't make any sense. So that's a big thing. Number 3 is no negative content, right? There's 2 podcasts that are kind of like parallels of each other, right? This urban culture scene in the UK. And I watched the positive one. I never watched the negative one. I actually found myself watching a little bit of the negative one for whatever reason, at a certain point. And I kind of put a stop to that very quickly. And I stick with the positive one. And even that one, again, like I said, I'm not big on always watching podcasts. I've had to filter that down a little bit. I don't want to just listen to everyone and anyone chatting shit. But I don't consume negative content. I try not to consume too much random content at all anyway, okay? But the negative at most, like that's something that's big, and I've been a big advocate of since I've transformed and changed my life, right? It's crazy because when you've come from a certain lifestyle, you have certain trauma responses you don't even realize. So I used to have this thing, up until probably the year or so, or a couple of years, where if I start listening to a certain type of music, I might just get drowned into that music for like hour, like a whole hour. I might just spend just consuming the content and going back and watching it and watching more and just get myself into this dark place without even realizing. It was just kind of like a trauma response that just brings me all the way back to those thoughts and feelings and kind of makes me revisit and relive it. So I've had to do well to just really filter out the type of content I'm taking in and make sure I'm taking in positive content mostly, right? Only. And then lastly, this is the most important thing and the thing that I'm going to end the video on. Content that aligns with my mission. Earlier in this video, I spoke about watching the Alex Hormozy video, and then the Matt Gray video came straight. And the reason being is that not all advice is good advice, but not all good advice is good advice for you. Okay? There's so many experts, there's so many different people, proven models. Like any system works. Any and every system can work depending on the scenario, right? So this person may have become a deca-millionaire dropshipping. And this person may have become a deca-millionaire, 100-millionaire, through, for whatever, the LinkedIn marketing, I don't know. But neither of those is right. It's about what is right for you. You have to look, and that's where it comes back to your inner voice, your codes, your morals, and just knowing your own mission. When you know your own mission, then you can use this big content era of so much content being posted. You can use it to your benefit versus it being a detriment to you. And this is an important message, I think, for so many of us in this times that we're living in. It's never been a greater time to live in terms of how much, knowledge. Just forget even the resources and the ChatGPT. ChatGPT is generally knowledge, right? Because you can find out and know anything in seconds. Anything you want to know. How to do this, how to do that, what's wrong with this, what's right with that. You can learn and know it all within seconds. Knowledge is at our fingertips, right? But the negative to that, because it's like yin and yang, right? It's always polar opposites. The negative of that is overconsumption and being, misled and going the wrong way for you in your journey. Sometimes, and this is why I think some, people before us did really well, because they didn't have so much content consuming them that, so they was able to discern a lot easier, right? They'll go out and hunt for that knowledge. And now because they've hunted for that knowledge, they know that they were called to it and they follow that path and they committed to it and they got their success. Whereas here, you can be on a path and be thrown a curveball because this comes up and now you're on a whole different path to where your journey is really meant to be. So finding out what your mission is, really honing in on what your mission is, being aligned with it, and then filtering out and making sure you're only consuming content that aligns with your mission. So like I said, man, it's probably come out to be a longer video than I thought it was going to be, but it's an important video at that, and hopefully somebody gets something from it, all right? I'm here making content, so I'm definitely not against it, but I'm definitely pro and for teaching people how to use it and have discernment around content. So if you've enjoyed this, please like, please share, all of the above. Peace and love and peace.